What is up, guys? Your homeboy Daniel from Tiny Studio Production. And today in the house as co-host, got the beautiful Asia Walters.
Hey.
My old school friend and husband, my husband, nah, I'm joking. Renee. And today we have the pleasure to interview Chris ThrashHeavy de Leon.
Hey,
how you doing, brother?
How you doing, guys? Good to be here. I appreciate you guys having me out here, and hopefully I can go ahead and entertain you guys with some tasty stories of mine and answers to the questions y'all have for me. So,
so how's the drive over here, bro?
It's good. You know, yeah. I'm a PSGA kid, so I'm very used to driving all over the valley. I actually enjoy coming out here to Westaco. It's got some spots that I enjoy coming out to. So, and it's always a pleasure to kind of check out new spots in Westaco. So thank you again for having me out here.
Thanks, bro. I just have one question, bro. You ever really like your voice sounds like you've practiced, you know, like being on the radio or something. You got that. you got like that Howard Stern voice.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? It's a good voice, bro.
I know what I'm doing. I gotta retire though.
So you practice, right? You practice on the mic, or what?
You know, I've had a lot of experience on the microphone ever since I was like in high school. I was part of the drama club at the time, and not that I did the acting in drama, but whenever we had like children's shows and whatnot, like I was part of the tech crew, so I would build a lot, but they needed kind of like an MC at the start of the show to kind of like hype up the show for the kids. And that's honestly like where I first got to be like on the mic. And to be honest, I'm glad, because it's not so much pressure being in front of a bunch of like little kids, because they'll love anything you say, right? If I would have been thrown in front of like an adult crowd, I'd probably been like, oh, I don't know what to say. So I like to think that helped me out being on the mic. And of course, throughout the years as I got older, I got a lot more comfortable being on a microphone as well.
So that's like when you were you're the spokesman, right? For like
yeah, just kind of like, hey kids, you guys want to see Snow White? Yeah. And you know, and then like I'll be like dissing like the Wicked Witch. The Wicked Witch is not good, right?
No way.
She sucks. So yeah, I got to be an entertainer at a young age, even though I wasn't the one acting. Like I said, I got to be the mic man, and that helped out a lot.
So we're gonna be going back and forth on questions with all of us. So
yeah,
Asia, you have the floor.
Hit me.
All right, cool. So as a kid, what were you into?
So as a kid, I mean, I'm your average 80s kid. Right now I'm 40 years old, so I was born in 83. And a lot of the stuff that I grew up with, just like any other kid, I was really into cartoons, of course. Movies especially. I know back then, like, movies were hard R. Like, one of my favorite movies is like RoboCop. I saw that movie in theater as like a 4 or 5 year old.
No way.
And if you guys haven't seen that movie, like,
I've seen them.
It's very gory, very violent, but it's a really good movie. So whether I was watching something kind of like G-rated, like Ninja Turtles, Batman, I was watching the hard stuff like rated R, like Terminator, RoboCop, Predator, and all that stuff to this day has like an effect on how I like to, I guess, use my time, whether it's creating art based off of that stuff or looking forward to the next movies that come out, or yeah, just even using it as musical influence too. Like a lot of that stuff like just resonates with me very well. So
the VHS days,
dude, I still have a VHS collection. I have a VCR. In fact, I went to the Pulga this morning trying to find some VHS tapes, but a lot of the stuff I try to find, it's kind of like the obscure stuff, not so much the very popular stuff that you can find on DVD, but a lot of those movies that didn't make it onto DVD format, those are the ones I try to find. Like
that's what I was gonna ask you, if there was like exclusive VHS.
Yeah,
that's not out like on DVD anymore.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there that, if you guys are into collecting stuff, as far as like hot items, there's some VHS tapes out there that can go kind of high as far as like on the reseller market. And not that I'm trying to resell them, it's more so I got to find them before people resell them and I can't get them at a cheap price. So.
Oh, wow.
What was your go-to like rental place, like Top Video, Blockbuster?
I don't know if you guys remember this in FAR, but it was called Freeze Frame Video, Super Freeze Frame. That particular rental store, it was on 83. Yeah.
By Glick.
Yes, right.
And then they have like a porn site. Right?
So they had adult sections up top.
Yes.
And obviously, as a kid, it was kind of like the
I was there as a kid.
Yeah.
I wasn't there on the porn side. I wasn't allowed, right? I was a
Yeah,
kid, but my mom told me they sell dirty videos.
Yeah, they had the adult stuff upstairs, so it's kind of like Pandora's box. Like, oh, I can't go up there, but I want to know what's back there. So I didn't know what was back there, but freeze frame video was pretty much like our go-to as far as family time to rent stuff. But all hit video was a close second because they had more of those like around the valley. And yeah, I definitely rented a lot of movies there, a lot of video games.
Bro, so I know you're a guitarist. What was your first guitar that you bought?
So I actually had, just like anything when you're first starting off, especially if your parents are buying you something, they're going to get you the lower end stuff, which is, understandable considering that they're like, well, I don't know if this kid's going to grow up to be good with all his stuff, so let's just get him something basic. Mm-hmm. And it was a Samick guitar. I honestly have no idea if that company is still around. But it was your lower end models, but I still have that exact guitar. I didn't get rid of it, nothing. And that's what got me started as far as like
it was an electric guitar.
Yeah. Oh, and so it's funny that you bring that up because my sister had an acoustic guitar, and I kept bugging my parents like, hey, can you get me an electric guitar, please? And they'd be like, just learn off of your sister's guitar. And I'm like, but that's acoustic. And my parents are like, it's the same thing. Of course they don't know. They don't know what's up, right? But I was like, So, I'd be there like trying to like play some like metal stuff on an acoustic. Yeah. And I'm like, this just isn't working for me. And eventually my parents finally, they got me a guitar, and I had a little amp and a little distortion pedal. And that's what got me.
Did you dab at the other ones though, like nylon and acoustic as well, or you just stayed with?
So no, as far as nylon, like the more like classical Mexican sounding tunes and stuff, no, like I just had like your steel strings, and growing up I would dabble with it, but for me I'm just not an acoustic player. Of course I can play stuff on there, but there's way better guitarists as far as acoustic than I am, that's for sure. My heart's all about that electric.
Favorite guitar, amp, and pedal, if you have one.
So nowadays, as an adult, like I don't really mess with too many pedals because a lot of the presets, like the combo amps that we have, that's what I stick to. I'm very simple in terms of like what I like to use as far as guitars sound. I just like particular distortion that's built off of a Line 6.
Nice.
In particular, Spider 3. I know people have like their gripes about Line 6, and it's fine, it's not for everyone, but for me, like, that's the sound that I've always liked, and that's the sound that I still use today.
I got this one at a pawn shop, the Line 6 pod.
Oh yeah.
It's an old school
you
one.
find a lot of Line 6 in particular at pawn shops. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, I'm all about Line 6. I do have other amps, but Line 6 is my go-to.
I don't know what a Line 6 is.
Yeah, it's
a brand.
It's a brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a dude thing. No, I'm just joking. Nah,
it's technical.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, it's just a good amp.
But that's what balancers do. That you have questions, and then I'm the nerd one.
Yes.
So it balances.
Yeah, the technical aspects. I don't know too many technical terms when it comes to guitar stuff, but I do. I've been playing since I was like 15, so. It's like I tell people, like, you know what, like, if you guys start talking to me about like, oh, I got this and this and this, I'm just like, dude, I just got a guitar and I know how to play it.
Yeah.
So you're in a band, right? You're like in 2 bands?
I'm in 3 actually.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is. It really is a lot to take on. But what helps is that to me, it's just like any other day. Like I have a set, I guess, days out of the week that each band has practice with. And yeah, 2 of them I'm actually the vocalist for. So I play in 2 death metal bands. One is my main band is called Cryptic Mutation. We've been around since 2019, and we're still together to this day, and we're actually working on a new album as we speak. Like, I just looked down at my phone right now, and my guitarist John was like, "Oh, I just finished today's track." So I know what I'm listening to as far as when I have the drive home, I'm going to listen to the what he had recorded. And another band that I'm in is Severance, and they've been around since 1989. I was like 6 when that band.
I think my husband's cousin used to be the lead singer for that band.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Michael Mena.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so Mike used to be the vocalist for that band, and they asked me just about 2 years ago to go ahead and fill in. Mike lives in New York, right?
New York, yeah.
Yes. So he's out in New York, and yeah, they're great guys too. The third band that I'm in, it's what's known as a doom metal band or a stoner metal. And it's funny because none of us in the band are stoners, except maybe one person, right? I'll leave him unnamed, but anyway, for that band, I play bass. So
Okay.
I'm not doing vocals in that one. It's kind of a nice, thing to like a change up. Like, oh, cool, I get to just sit back and play some bass as opposed to like do headbanging and try not to swallow my hair as I'm singing, So
Bro, so on both bands that you sing, is it the same style or it's different?
it is the same style in terms of how I project my voice, like in the harsh death metal sound. As far as guitars, they're pretty similar, but still different at the same time. Like if I were to put two tracks of ours side by side, you'd definitely be able to tell that, okay, this one has its particular sound and that one has its particular sound.
Have you ever had an issue where like you're performing and you shout out like the wrong band, like from both of them?
So that hasn't happened. I have had to play a show where both bands played, and it was kind of funny because that was in Arkansas. We had a fest that both bands were playing. And at the time, I had a mustache, and I was like, okay, here's my game plan. I'm going to play with Cryptic Mutation first with my mustache. Then I'm going to shave and play with Severance. That way it's like, is that the same guy or not? But I didn't do that, but yeah, I thought it would have been pretty funny and clever. It's not the same dude.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Or wear a wig or
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
change it up.
yeah.
What was the first song you played on the guitar?
So the first song, it was Metallica stuff, but because that was the first band I fell in love with metal-wise. But the thing is that it was never a complete song. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'm gonna play this. I was like, you know what? This part's too hard. I'm not gonna play that part. But Metallica did build up the my play style, and that was definitely the first band that got me into the metal realm. And
Did you get to watch them like in live in concert?
to this day, I still haven't watched them live.
Bro, I saw them in Houston, bro. Best concert
Yeah.
ever.
What?
It felt like I was in a movie, bro.
Oh,
Like,
is that right?
No invite. No invite.
Yeah.
I was with one of my homeboys and like we started doing the mosh pit, and then
yeah.
afterwards we're grandpas. We're sore, man. I was like, nah, it's
How
not
many
for me.
Have y'all ever been hurt in a mosh pit? Like,
Yeah, I
you
have.
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened?
Well, me and this guy, we like locked arms.
Yeah.
We were running.
Oh yeah, you were partnering up and running around.
Dude, I fucking hit my forehead.
Yeah.
I hit my forehead on his somehow.
Oh, no, yeah.
It hurt, but I was just like, my teeth.
Making sure that your veneers are still
My
there.
teeth are good, I'm good.
Yeah. I hurt my face really bad my senior year. And this is a funny story. It's a true story. I was in Edinburgh at Trenton Point. It was a venue that used to be around back then. And I was watching this death metal band called Condemned. And they were playing. And like I said, I was a senior that year. And I jumped into the mosh pit, just pushing people around. I'm small, I'm not a big guy.
Yeah.
And I remember I turned to the right, and all of a sudden the back of this dude's head just crashed right into my face.
Ouch.
And that's the first time I've ever been rocked to where I saw
Stars.
I saw spots. Like seriously, I was like, whoa. So that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a real
happened to
thing.
me.
And I had to go check out my nose in the restroom, and it was funny because people were like, "Oh shit!" Like
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
saw.
"This is not gonna be good." And I just had this like cut on my nose, and you could still feel it. I was bleeding and bleeding. I went outside to kind of just like get some air. A classmate of mine happened to be there, and the first thing out of her mouth was, "Chris, tomorrow's prom." And I'm like, "Oh."
Fuck.
So exactly what she said. I had to go to senior prom with a busted face.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
We put makeup. My sister helped me put makeup on. Took my picture. I still have it somewhere, but my nose was like super fat. And yeah, that's
Damn,
it
bro.
sucked at the time, but it's funny
Shit.
now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You should post it.
Yeah, I have before. I'll
You
post it
have?
again. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
make it like a yearly thing. That time I broke my face before prom.
That's just like the heat of the moment. You don't plan those things, You just, if you feel it, you just fucking do it. Because if the feeling goes away, you're like, I should have done it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a nice, awful surprise that makes a lifetime memory. So I'm good with it.
for sure. Did you ever go on tour?
Yeah, so I've done tours throughout my life, and whether they've been somewhat short to maybe like a week to maybe at the most close to 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're still like each band is still very like do-it-yourself style. So these tours have to be planned out by us essentially. I don't want to give myself credit, like I've never been the one to get the dates and stuff, but my other band members and stuff, they've been very good about networking, getting in touch with people. So if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't be going out to these particular places. In October, we're going to be hitting the road with these friends of ours. They're called Throne, from the Indiana area, and we're going to be hitting the road for up to about 2.5 weeks or so. But yeah, like I've done the road life for a bit. It's fun, like being on the road with like your friends and stuff. Obviously, like we always make good memories, like in general, like everyone else. And of course, like we have those days where we have to like make sure we're gonna be showered up and stuff, and that's not always the case when you're in a band trying to be with like 5 other dudes. Like
hygiene.
God, yeah, that's one of the things that's always been my big thing. Like, oh man, like I don't want to
shower like what, twice a day.
Yeah, I try to, right? And but we take what are known as baby wipe showers when we can, and that's with baby wipes and all that. But that's always been my I guess pros to cons. Like I was like, man, I hope I can be as clean as possible throughout the week or two, right? But we manage, but everything else is still awesome and fun.
Bro, so from the 3 bands that you've been in, what has been your favorite locations that you've performed in?
Okay, so where have we played that I like going? I like we played in Cleveland, Ohio this past year, and I liked that spot out there. I thought it was pretty neat. Like I'd never been there before. We played in Mexico in Toluca.
I saw that.
Yeah, like a couple Decembers ago. And what was really neat about that was that was an actual like huge 3-day fest called Hell and Heaven Fest. We played with Pantera the day that they reunited.
No way.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound too cool. Like it's not like we were like, hey, what's up, Pantera? It was more so like we played like at 4 p.m. and they played like at 10 p.m. like on the big old stage.
You still saw
yeah, we could still say that we played the reunion show, and it was 3 days of just nonstop like huge bands. Like I know Kiss was there, Megadeth was there. Like it was all kinds of. Slipknot was there. It was amazing, like so to.
That's a lot of energy, bro. Were you tired or no?
I was very hyped up. I wasn't nervous. Like I said, like I've reached a point in my life where I don't get nervous in front of like crowds or anything like that. I was super hyped up, and of course, like once that hype comes down as far as adrenaline, like you're like, okay, now I can chill. And I just go back to regular mode. I wasn't too like exhausted or anything. So
were you like able to talk to like
the big
anyone?
Like nah, we talked to some of the like there was a few bands that were I guess like kind of like at our level in terms of like not so huge, and we were hanging with them and stuff. And but of course, like the bigger bands, we didn't want to be trying to sneak into the back like, hey, can we talk to you guys? Nah.
But they don't walk around or anything?
Nah, like not
Damn,
they
that sucks.
a lot of them for the most part, like they stay in designated areas and stuff. Some might walk out into the crowd, that's always cool, but yeah.
So when it comes to guitar, bro, are you a rhythm guitarist or a lead guitarist?
So I'm very much into rhythm. I cannot lead to save my life. I can write some very cool riffs. I do a lot of like melodic riffs as well. So it sounds like a not so hard solo throughout the songs that I write. But as far as shredding, man, it's one of those things where I just never grasped the concept, unfortunately. But
yeah.
The good thing is I have friends that shred really, really awesome, and the guys in my bands too, like they can shred. So I'm just like, as if I'm not even in the band, I'm just watching like, damn, that's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Badass, so bro.
Yeah,
I'm a rhythm guitarist as well.
Yeah.
So I have this MIDI guitar. I don't know if you've seen those. It's called the Instrument One.
Okay.
This white one right here. Watch.
Oh yeah.
So what it does is whatever you play on the guitar, it converts it to whatever instrument you want.
Oh, okay, that's pretty sick.
Or like if there's a choir or like, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. So because me, I have the piano, but I don't play like
great
piano. And then on the piano, I got this software called I think it's called Remedy, or I'll get you the name of it.
Yeah.
But you hit one note on it, and it plays like the 9 or 10 keys of the chords.
That sounds pretty sick.
So it's like you can create the progression. You don't even have to learn piano anymore. Like
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, piano is an instrument, or excuse me, like an instrument that I wish I could have played, but to me, it's just got like a very beautiful and dark sound at the same time, depending on what you're playing. And every now and then, like, I'll just sit back and listen to piano.
My husband plays on it. Like,
Oh,
he
really?
makes up his own stuff.
You play the piano, bro?
I dabble, but I just
He
The
does.
modest talk.
I've tried like learning the bass part. You got the bass part. There's a pattern, and then there's a different pattern on the right hand. So
Yeah.
it's difficult, man.
Yeah.
You
It's difficult.
already have the upper hand on me, man, as far as like using like different skills, because I cannot for the life of me understand how you guys manage to do one thing with one hand and another on the other.
Well,
it's
he
so
drums
hard.
also.
Again,
It's like
I'm envious of drummers, man, because like I said, I was like, how do you move your feet, your
I know,
hands
it's
at the same
hard.
time to do
It's
all
so
this?
hard.
All four limbs.
Yeah. Super hard.
there's
That's
like
props.
it hurts my brain when
Yeah.
I do those things. What was your first rock concert?
Oh, so that one was when I was 13, and I believe it was in '96. I believe this was, and it's kind of like a historical concert because it was Megadeth in McAllen
Oh,
at La
wow.
Via Real.
Wow.
And in case you guys don't know about this, that was the last time that Megadeth played in McAllen, and they will never come back ever. And if you
Something always happens. What
and
happened?
if you guys don't believe me, you can go on YouTube and you can look up Dave Mustaine hates McAllen. And that is a true search that you can find.
What the fuck happened?
And before I get into the story, I'll tell you what he says. In the interview, he says, there are places where I'll never play. He's like, I will never play in McAllen, Texas again. You guys suck. And that's it. It's like a 10-second clip, and that's all he had to say. What happened? Well, for whatever reason, this was my first concert, right? So when I'm there, there's people. It's at La Via Real in McAllen. It's the Harley Davidson like building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, people in the crowd were just throwing like cups of beer at each band. And like I said, this is my
Whoa.
first show, so I'm thinking, is this like the norm that people just throw stuff at the
Cheraza.
bands?
That's
Right. And well, when Megadeth came out, Dave Mustaine, the singer, he called it out. He called it out really quick because someone hit him like with a cup of beer, and he got pissed. And he's just like, "Hey, if you guys see someone throwing shit on stage, fucking hit them."
Yeah.
You know, people were like cheering, and he's like, "And if you guys don't want to do it, point it out, and I'll fucking hit them." So everyone's like, "Yeah." And so that happened, but people were still throwing shit, and he even said like something like, "If you guys keep doing this shit, I'm cutting it off." And sure enough, they kept doing it, and he's like, "That's it, I'm out." And that was it. Like, that was my first experience, like, at a show. And I was like, okay, so is that normal? Because the next show after that, which was, I think, later that year, was Sepultura in McAllen.
oh wow.
And people were still throwing stuff. And I'm like, dude, I guess that's normal. And then as I got older, I realized, okay, no, people are just fucking dumb
They're
and
lame.
assholes. And,
Yeah.
you know, because that's not regular concert etiquette. So...
the Valley's like the kid with the silver teeth.
Oh
That's
yeah,
always Cando Palo.
in a nutshell, that's what my first concert was like. It was a giant like kid with silver caps.
But they do that like to
That's
the artists
stupid, dude.
now. They've hit them like with roses. They've thrown their phones at them.
Oh yeah, just anything they can find. I've seen
And-
people throw a shoe.
Yeah,
So-
they throw their chonies, their bras. Like I think Drake, they throw the big ass
The bras?
Oh, gosh.
and he's like,
Yeah, and luckily that's never happened to me. I mean, I kind of feel like, man, it hasn't happened to me. I feel bad. I want you guys to throw. I want to be a part of that. Yeah, throw something at me, please.
We need to go to one of your shows.
Yeah, yeah. You know.
I've been trying to get my husband to go to. I try to tell him. I work around his schedule, right?
Yeah.
And then, I have kids, so I need
Yeah,
to make sure they're taking
it's
care of
hard. It's not like a super easy thing to do. You know, especially at my age. Like, I understand when someone can't make it. I'm not gonna hold it against them. You know, like sometimes people
You're
are
like,
just
fucking bitch.
nah. Yeah, sometimes people are just too tired, or they just have things to do, and you know, it's not like we're only gonna play once. You know, there's always room for
I
opportunity. and
think
stuff.
if y'all available, maybe next time we could interview the band.
Yeah.
Too, like
Oh yeah,
That'd
I
be
think
cool.
I met one of the band
Yeah.
members.
Yeah.
But he was in another band called Belligerence.
Belligerency.
Oh yeah, there we go. That
Okay. Yeah, like those guys are good. They're
But
from
he's in your
Harlingen.
band, right? One of them.
No.
No, he looks like
so-
one of the band
So
members.
it's so funny because
Yeah,
as a drummer, the drummer in my band, he's like in like 4 or 5 bands. I'm not even joking. So.
Oh no, he's not the drummer.
Yeah, he used to be in a band called Blast Perversion. Maybe it's that one.
That one.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, then the girl I know was wearing the shirt.
Yeah, Blast Perversion.
Okay, then that's.
And
I met him one time at a house party, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. They they're interesting dudes too. Like musicians in general. Like aside from what they love doing with their instrument, they have their everyday lives too.
Yeah,
you know. So yeah,
for sure.
it'd be really cool to get them on here.
Bro, what would be like a dream spot to perform with your bands?
Man, I see those huge shows that a lot of like the really well-known bands, like let's say Metallica, like they play where it's just like a sea of people. Like I don't even care where it is. Like it could be like in our backyard or like in another country. I just want to see like a sea of people watch us play before I die. You know what I mean? Like if I don't get it, cool. I understand, right? But man, like the fact that like you can get so many people in one space just to like watch you play and to see that movement of just like hands or just jumping, like that's like a state of like cloud 9 where I'd be like, dude, now I can go ahead and say, you know what? After playing all these years, I can finally say I saw a bunch of people in one area. So,
Bro, it's crazy that you mentioned Metallica because that's what I had asked you that because when they performed at the Coliseum.
Dude, you see, that's a Coliseum. That's an actual Coliseum. So,
bro,
That's so pretty.
and they don't let just anybody
Yeah,
there. You
of
know what I
course
mean?
not, yeah.
So when I saw that shit, I was like, damn, bro.
So I'm cool with playing like little bars where there's like maybe like 3 to 4 people, but I'm also cool with playing like good fest where there's like a bunch of people. Like I'll play in front of anyone, you know. They're not always gonna be like winners in terms of like the size of the show itself, but hey,
it's the energy.
Yeah. So
I kind of like the small, intimate crowds. You know, when you're in a club.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, there's like a good vibe and people just. You know, they're moshing and they're crowd surfing, and it's actually like not a big room, but like it feels big because everybody's in there and
because you're having fun. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it's awesome. I like that.
So going back to Megadeth's bad experience on here, have you and the band members had any bad experience with like drunks or like?
No. I've been very fortunate to not have people like I guess like heckle or throw stuff or.
But he wants you to throw stuff.
Yeah, I know, right? Come on, hit me. Do it, I'm here.
Throw me some quarters.
Nah, we've had like bad shows in terms of like if the promoter didn't do a good job or didn't take care of us in terms of like equipment. Like we've played using equipment. Sometimes it's okay because I know we've played shows where like there's a lot of people, but the equipment sucks, and it's just like, you know what? They're still having fun. Let's do it. Or we played just like shows where like they just didn't have good equipment at all. There's not a lot of people, and it's just like, why are we here? And it's like, well, because we do this, you know.
That's one thing because I host a lot of events with. I got my friend Matt M. He's from San Benito, and he went to school for the whole sound engineering and all that. He had taken a break for a while, and I started doing some with someone else, and it wasn't the same, bro. Like, and whenever I do the events, a lot of artists they're cool enough to come perform for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Right.
And I've always like valued the artists because like they're going out of their way to come perform. Like I have to make sure to make them sound good. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you go to like a quinceañera and it's like, you know, when the people are talking, you hear the feedback and shit. Like, I don't like that. I feel like the artist or the band should have that respect. You know, wherever they perform at, whoever's behind the sound, they need to make sure like everything's balanced for you guys, you know.
Yeah, it's just like anything. You wanna have a good experience so that you can have something good to say about the show itself. Then you can tell the people, hey, this promoter's badass. He takes care of you. He does this and that. Because of course you don't want to be put in that position where you're known as like, oh, that guy sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The band that you're in, like, what made you go to death metal? Like,
so I've always. I have like a very like a high variety of like different stuff that I like to listen to as far as like music, right, in general. And I always tell people this, like, my voice is just meant for metal. I don't have a good voice in terms of singing
Really?
nice. I don't have the skills to play like you with the piano. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot do anything nice sounding, even though I love some of that stuff. As far as metal, I know people always ask, how do you do that with your voice?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. All I know is that it's very easy for me to do it. And so that's why I'm very comfortable in doing either death metal or just regular metal or just like hardcore metal. It's very easy for me, and since I grew up loving that stuff, that's probably why I have a knack for it as far as like my abilities, right? But yeah, like if you guys ask me to do like some crazy sounding ugly scream, I can do it, no problem. But if you guys ask me to just like sing happy birthday in a nice voice, I can't do it. So
Yeah. Well, we won't ask you to sing happy birthday.
But yeah, I just love death metal. I love metal in general. I'm very addicted to the aggressive sound that comes from the instruments as well as like the vocalist itself. And it's just overall just very pleasant for me to hear, because if I may say, and I'm not dissing any other like genre, but metal is so technical. Like there's a lot that goes into it. Like we have to be really fast and on point and sound great on drums. Like we have to shred like almost like with like impeccable style and performance, right? Like, and that's super hard, you know. And while we're headbanging, come on.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. Does your neck hurt sometimes?
Yes, the necks can get we call them
Stiffy?
bangovers, you know, like headbanging, yeah. And where our
it.
neck is just like I can't really lift it up all the way.
The next day, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, that does hurt. So you got to be careful whenever you're headbanging. It's
Bangay.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Bro, so I was interviewing a band like 2 days ago, and we're talking about whenever they get recorded in the studio, sometimes they don't go by the tempo. It's more they go by their own tempo.
Yeah.
So is that the way it works with you guys with the band? Like, are y'all following a tempo, or is the drummer the one?
So as far as the recording process, like especially with the studio that we're in at Widowmaker Studio. We use a metronome.
Widowmaker.
Yeah, with Josh Widowmaker.
Josh, yeah.
He's a very talented guy that did our first album as well. But yeah, we're on a
Andrew
metronome.
Rains.
Yeah, Andrew's a good guy too. And the click tracks and all that, just to make sure that it's like as precise as possible. Now, what do I prefer? Honestly, like to me, it's all the same. Like, let's say if they're like, "Hey, you're gonna record," there's no click track. I'm like, okay. But if like, "Hey, you're gonna record," there's a click track. I'd be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy for me to do either or. As far as what I feel is preferred for the most cases is with a click track. So
It's crazy, bro. How like I've heard when you hear death like metal, sometimes the drummer's following the guitar, like when they're hitting notes. You know, like they're following that, and that's not part of like a tempo. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a breakdown.
it's like a
I
little
love
fill-in.
breakdown.
And it's badass because it's satisfying because it's not like whenever it's recorded by tempo, you predict like what's coming in as compared to when you do it
Okay, I
free
get what
like
you're saying.
that.
Yeah.
It's like to me it's satisfying. You know, like it's just free. It's kind of like a lead guitars as well. You can't predict what they're gonna how they're gonna come in. You know, they go with the feeling.
Yeah, and recording the whole process and everything. It's cool to be around, especially when you see like your bandmate trying not to mess up. You're like, don't fuck up, bro. You know. And so, but no, like I'm around a lot of like really talented guys. So it's like I said, it's very interesting to see, and it's very fascinating too.
Bro, so I could talk music all day, but I
same.
know you're a guy of like multiple traits, you know, so multiple talent.
Yeah.
So I want to dab with the tattoo stuff.
Sure.
So what's the longest tattoo session you've had?
So I don't tattoo too long on my clients because one, I get tired myself. Two, like that shit hurts. Like, you know, so tattoos hurt.
Yeah.
Whether people tell you that it didn't hurt, they're lying.
Yeah,
all right?
they're liars. Don't lie.
There are some tough clients. I call them terminators because I've had a few terminators in life where they just don't feel anything. Yeah. And then you have your average Joe that can take it just fine. And then, of course, you have your people that are like, oh, this shit hurts. I can't do it. So to sum it up, as far as like how long I'll work on someone, maybe at the most like 5 hours. You know, it is very taxing on not just myself, but my client as well. So, but there are some people out there that will go
all the way.
Yeah, whether it's the tattooer themselves or the person wanting to get it. So, yeah.
Have you ever had to reject like someone with a tattoo that want a tattoo?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah, we myself for sure. Like there are things that I will turn down, and not so much because of like if it's morally right or wrong, but it's more so like if it's a style that I don't do. I do a lot of styles for the most part, but there are some that I'm not either good at or not comfortable with, right? And I don't want to screw anyone over, so I'll be like, oh, you might want to go check out this person because they specialize in that. As far as like if someone has come up to me with something I wasn't comfortable doing, there are some out there that people want to get, and whether I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, you know, like let's say if someone wants their first tattoo, they want their face tattooed, like just, you know, especially with nowadays, that's a very popular thing that's going on as far as what people are getting in a lot of face tattoos, and it's cool and all, but honestly, like I try to look out for people in the future. Like not everyone's gonna be able to get a job with something all over their face, and especially if it's their first one, I'm like, nah, like I'll turn that down.
For sure.
I won't do anything like as far as like racist tattoos. Of course, I don't think anyone really would want to do that to begin with, or like just something that's just not right, you know. Sure, there are stuff out there that people want to get, but you know, I keep it pretty tame in terms of what I'll do. I've done some pretty wild things though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but nothing too awful, you know.
So I know you're also a painter.
Yeah.
Have you had to reject any paint?
Nah, like as far as painting and stuff, like going back to what I grew up with, as far as like in the 80s, like I said, I do a lot of pop art in terms of you know, like our horror movie characters or like our comic book characters, and the majority of the time people see that I do that and that's what they want, you know, like they're like, oh, I saw you do this painting of a video game character, can you do this one? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat.
There you go. Yeah, the Scorpion one you all picked up. Thank you.
Son.
Yeah.
He likes Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now I got a paddle too.
There you go. Yeah, I like painting on paddles. It turned out to be kind of like a trademark thing that I like doing. And people always ask, like, what's it for? I was like, I don't know, do whatever you want with it. So I just paint on them. Yeah.
How did you get into tattooing?
So I was in high school. I've always been a good kid. I always tell people I've always been a really good kid growing up. But I also would kind of like daydream a lot. Like I didn't want to be in school, you know, like it just school just sucks. Wasn't for me.
But stay in school.
Yeah, of course. Like I knew that it was something I had to be doing. But as far as my time coming up as a senior, I didn't know what I was going to do afterwards. I didn't care to go to college, but like I said, I've always been like a good kid. I never got into partying or drinking or anything like that. And when I turned 18, I was still a senior. And I asked my parents, can I please live a little and can I get a tattoo? Like I don't do anything.
Oh, wow.
I stay home, I play guitar and play video games. Like I don't go anywhere. I don't sneak out of my house. And they're like, and how do you say no to that, right? So they're like, okay. So my sister took me to Flaming Heart Tattoos back in 2001, excuse me. And I got my first tattoo in Flaming Heart Tattoos, which I still to this day work at, you know.
Nice.
But what's funny is when I got that tattoo done, that's when it kind of hit me like, wait a minute, so like maybe I can do this after high school, maybe, because I've always been an artist. Like ever since I was like 4 years old, that's when I was starting to draw. It was just never a thought in my head to become a tattoo artist, because back then that was very like unheard of, I guess you could say, like a high school kid wanting to get into tattooing. And back then it wasn't as, I guess, like open arm welcoming as it is now.
People look down on it.
God, it was easier said than done, me saying, hey, maybe I can become a tattoo artist. No, I had to really show these guys in particular that I wanted to work there. I would go like every day after school just to be not so much like an intentional pest, but I'd be there like, hey.
Yeah, trying to learn.
Yeah, and they'd be like, not even learn. It was more so getting my foot in the door. And people, the dudes there were just like, who is this fucking kid? Finally, I got a foot in the door. And I remember it was really funny because they said, all right, if you're going to be here, be prepared to have no life. You're going to be here all the time, and you're not going to go anywhere. And I was like, I already don't have a life. So it was the hardest part of them telling me that was just like easy. I'm like, okay. And yeah, so from there, I did a lot of like grunt work. I did a lot of, crawling before I was walking, and it was very hard. Like I said, you're trying to kind of like get the respect of the people that you want to show you how to tattoo, and they think you're just like some annoying kid that isn't going to know what he's doing, and very much so. That's what it was.
So you're an apprentice there, right?
Yeah.
For how long were you an apprentice?
So my apprenticeship was kind of weird and wonky because, without trying to throw any sort of like shade to the people that worked there, it was very like, all right, I'm quitting, I'm leaving, and then they'd come back or something like that, or like, oh, like you're not my apprentice, I'm not showing you. So it was kind of like, well, who the hell is showing me how to do what? Or if like some dude was like mean to me, like it was just very wonky. But to sum it up, my apprenticeship lasted almost like as soon as it started, because I got thrown in the deep end because, like I said, one person would leave, or like two guys would get in kind of like butt heads with each other and not want to talk to anyone. Oh, wow. And my boss was like, hey, you're going to have to start learning how to tattoo because I need you, because these guys aren't coming in. No. I'm like, okay. So if anyone got tattooed by me in 2002, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I also am thanking you all. I didn't do too horrible of jobs. I can honestly say that. And that's the beauty about growing in a business or like a career that you want to do.
For sure.
You humble yourself almost by looking back at what you used to do, and you think, gross, what did I do? You know what I mean?
But that's the best way to learn too, being under pressure like that,
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of pressure. And this is tattooing. This is like, I'm doing surgery on people practically. I'm making sure that their bodies they're happy with what they have on their body for the rest of their lives. So the pressure, it's funny when people are like, oh man, it must be awesome being a tattoo artist. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of fun trying not to like fuck up on someone for the rest of their life. But yeah, it is fun though, but it has its pressurable moments. So in a nutshell, that's how I got started. I got a tattoo in high school, and the adventure afterwards was getting my foot in the door to now being one of the owners there. So
which do you enjoy better, giving tattoos or getting tattoos?
Oh man, it's always going to be giving. Like, people always or people assume that because I tattoo for a living that I can take tattoos well, and for the most part I can. Like obviously, like I know I'm inflicting this type of like trauma to the skin on someone else. Like now it's like, okay, well, it's my turn, right? So I can't be complaining too much. But as far as, do I want to get tattooed over tattooing? Nah, I'd rather just tattoo. I've been getting tattooed the majority of my tattoo career since I was 18, and the older I get, the more it hurts. I'm like, ah. So, yeah.
And then, well, like, as far as it hurting, like, where can you say is like the most pain? Okay,
now the worst spot for me so far has been directly on my butt cheeks, like straight up. I know that sounds hilarious, but I do have my back being worked on right now
I saw that.
Yeah, by Ceci over at Trenton Point Tattoos in Edinburgh, and I wanted a back piece, so we did a back piece.
Yeah, it was like big.
Yeah, it's on my shoulders down to the bottom of my legs, like we're just above like where my knee bends are.
That hurts. The hamstrings.
And every one of my friends that have gotten their backs done, like pretty much like their body suits done, they all said the same thing to me. They were like, dude, the butt is gonna hurt. And I'm like, and I think like, oh man, how bad could it be? But I had multiple people tell me, dude, the ass cheeks are the worst. So I'm like, okay.
Even if it's like if you had a big butt, it would hurt someone with a big butt.
I just want to say the more butt you have, the longer you're gonna be there. So yes. So so whenever she got to that region, and it's not so much just like a small tattoo. This is my entire rear that we're getting done. I was like, oh my God, this is almost like impossible to get done. What the hell? But you muscle through it, of course, and
do you take anything for it?
Nah,
cream, nothing?
Nah. I'm just straight up like, I'm just gonna do it.
Damn.
My husband's the same. He's sober.
Yeah, you just do it, and my.
Oh, natty.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bitch too. I need that numb cream.
Yeah, I'll just straight up do it, and it's still in the process of getting done, like my back, but It's looking really nice. Like she's doing a great job on it, so I'm really happy with it. And yeah, it's an experience because that shit does hurt.
And like, because you own, do you own the tattoo?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so how does that work? Like, do you pay them for tattooing you, or they don't?
Oh, so you're talking about as
like,
far as like, so anytime like you have, like I guess like you'd say like someone work on you, you treat it just like the same, you know, like you don't want to be giving them something. You don't want to be getting something for nothing, you know. You want to go ahead and to do some work. Excuse me. You want to go ahead and get some work done, and you want to compensate, of course.
Okay, so you do.
Yeah, but I mean, we do have like our moments where we'll trade as far as like, you know, because these are also friends of mine. I have history with most of the people that have tattooed me.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that we sometimes don't pay each other, sure, that happens. But of course, like we know how it is to be not compensated for some hard work we do. So.
Like a favor for a favor.
Yeah, like, you know, of course, like we don't want to seem like moochers, you know, but yeah, there's always in return something goes down, you know. So
I like that. I think
yeah.
that's nice. I don't know where Danny went.
He went to go see if his butt was eligible to get tattooed. He's like, does this hurt? He's over there right now trying to see what it feels like. But no.
No, but like on the piece you did. Like you posted it. I remember you posting it on Instagram.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, like I said, she's doing a killer job on it. As far as what I have on there, it's a Cerberus, just a 3-headed dog, like the gatekeeper from hell. And people ask like,
that's from Hercules, no?
It's from all kinds of like mythological stuff.
Yes, I just remember from Hercules the 3-headed dog, or was it the dragon? I don't remember.
You know, people ask like why I got it, and honestly, I just wanted something cool. Like I didn't put any thought into it other than like, man, I want to get something on my back with like flames and some sort of like animal. And my friend Fernie was like, dude, you should get a Cerberus like from God of War. I'm like, all right. So that was all it took. I was like, hey, that does sound cool, just like a 3-headed dog, you know. So.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's
yeah,
a nice tattoo. I think all your tattoos are pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, like I've the majority of my tattoos are there's not a whole lot of thought into them. I just like getting cool stuff, you know.
Do you like tattoo yourself?
I have. My third tattoo I ever did was on my knee, above my knee, this little star right here. And it was kind of like self-sacrifice to get good at the craft that I wanted to be in, right? And
I did these.
Oh, did you now? Yeah, it's not fun tattooing yourself.
It was cool, but yeah. I think I did okay.
That's not bad. But yeah, it's one of those things where you want to do a good job and you're trying to keep steady, but that shit hurts. So you're like, ah. But yeah, I tattooed myself for sure.
I can do it. I can handle it.
Tough.
But I don't think I would do good artwork on this.
Bro, so what's your favorite tattoo and painting that you've done?
So, man, my favorite tattoo, like it really is hard to say because I've done so many. My favorite tattoos come from my favorite types of clients, and those types of clients that become my favorite are the ones that are the easiest to work with. And I'm not saying the ones that are hard to work with are jerks. It's not that. Like, everyone has like a preference to what they want to get done, and we can't always hit that exactly like on the first try. Like, do you want something like this? Like, oh, I want something different. I'm like, okay, fine, let's redraw it. But the people are just super down, like, hell yeah, man, that looks fucking awesome, let's do it. Boom, that's just like an automatic, this is going to be a badass tattoo. But of course, like I said, patience comes with a lot of tattooing, so we got to be patient and accommodate to everyone. And even though someone may not like the first design that you draw, we go at it again, and you know, hopefully they like it by the second time. But like I said, my favorite tattoos usually come from the people who are just like really down to just get something really badass.
What about painting?
Paintings, I love video games, so I love painting video game characters. Especially if someone's gonna be like, hey, can you do like a Mortal Kombat character? I'm like, hell yeah, I can. That shit, I can draw most of those characters just by like sheer memory, just because of how many times I've played Mortal Kombat games. So
oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
And favorite tattoo on your body?
Damn, it's got to be I have an arcade coin slot here on near my wrist, like and it goes back to the whole video game stuff. And I spent a lot of time growing up in arcades, and I had this little spot here, and I was like, you know what, I want to get like just an arcade coin slot, the 25 cents insert coin here to play. And as simple as it is, it's probably my most unique that I have on my body, and that's what kind of like makes it one of my favorites.
Do you have the 956?
I do.
You do?
I sure do, right here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love my hometown, and the idea of getting something to represent where you grew up is just awesome to me. And
I haven't gotten it.
No, and this isn't me just being biased, but I feel like 956 just looks so much cooler than most like other era codes and stuff. But it's just a sick looking like number 956. So it rolls off the tongue so well too.
Or the 281.
Oh, like yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
MGK with
There you
something
go.
like that. Not with that, but his number.
Yeah, 956 just sounds like real, like so representative, like 956.
I do
baby.
like it. I didn't like it at 1st, but it's been growing on me.
Man, it's so 956. Like it's the best. But yeah, I had to get that tattooed on me.
Bro, sorry, go.
Ooh, chingo. What percentage is your body covered in tattoos?
I'd probably say maybe like in the 70-ish percentage because I do still have a lot of space exposed. I obviously I have my face and my neck exposed and my hands exposed, but there are some areas like on my legs and my arms that I still have space to put stuff on. I am heavily tattooed, but not incredibly heavily tattooed, so I'd have to say probably even less, maybe like 65%, maybe I'd say.
Would you do more? Like, are you gonna do blackouts or?
No. So I'm not into the blackout style, but as far as getting more tattoos, yeah, for sure, I do want to get some more stuff. Time is of the essence, of course, because like I said, the older I get, the more it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, I need to get stuff done before I just can't anymore. But yeah, like I still every now and then, like I'm like, maybe I'll tattoo my knee, and then I'll be like, you know what? Nah, not so much because that shit hurts. But
my knee.
Yeah, but yeah, I got spots.
Yeah, that looks pretty.
So when it hits the bone, that's when it fucking hurts.
So those areas, like even though it technically doesn't hit the bone itself, but those bony areas still hurt. Yeah, they sure do. And the knee, like you said, it's just like I don't know if I feel comfortable being that close to something so sensitive.
The elbow.
Yeah, elbows suck too.
So besides the skin and the canvas, you ever put your art skills in other objects like cars, walls, motorcycles, body paint?
So I've done body painting before, and usually like to help out someone that needs like a costume or something like that. Cars, buildings, no, that's something to me that's even scarier than tattooing for whatever reason. Like I feel like I don't mind like fucking up on a person. I don't want to fuck up on somebody's car. I'm kidding, but you know what I mean. Like I feel like someone's vehicle is just like, oh shit, like I don't want to like do a really crappy job on this nice car. But even at that, like I have no experience working on vehicles, but the artwork that I see on that people do, it's amazing. Buildings, large scale stuff, I've never been one to do that either. A lot of the stuff I do is very like, maybe like small to like somewhat big, but nothing like on a grand scale to where like I'm going to be there for days working on something.
Bro, so how long did it take for your hair to grow?
So ever since COVID started, that was when I was going to do it. You figured me being into metal for so long that I'd grow my hair at some point, right? But man, every time I tried, it was that awkward stage.
Yeah.
Is so hard to get over. It's the hardest thing ever. And anytime that growing up that I would try and grow my hair out, I'd be like, I can't do this, and I'd cut it. COVID was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity because I don't want to be going out anywhere. I don't want to I just don't want to run into anything, right? Like catching it. So I was like, okay, things are on lockdown. Let's start growing this hair. And
the awkward stage could just be to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody else can see that awkward.
I was like Gollum in the Lord of the Rings, just sticking to myself, like looking at my precious hair. And I got over it, and I was like, man, like it's such a relief to like get over that awkward stage. And now that it's long,
do you use products?
Nothing too crazy. I love hearing.
It's because I use shit for my beard, bro. So that's why I'm asking you. Like,
I do. I don't even know if I would consider them products, but I know people. I love hearing people compliment it because it's nice. People like compliments, right? And so to hear like, man, your hair is so nice. I honestly don't know how it looks nice or whatever, but I do know that like I just use shampoos and stuff like that, and I'm a man of variety, so I'll try out a different shampoo each time I go to like the store or whatever. But as far as product, nah, like I've used like little serums, I guess you could say, just to give it some shine, but I wouldn't even be able to tell you what it was that I used as far as product. But yeah, no, like for the most part, it's just all natural. I've made jokes actually, because someone will ask me, what kind of shampoo do you use? I'll be like, oh, I'll use like that like 5-in-1 where it's like shampoo, conditioner, and like mouthwash, whatever you want to call it. So
it's funny how they like when guys say like a guy uses a towel for everything, their ass or face, and the girls have like
all this expensive product and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much like how it is with my hair, because I'm like, I don't know, I just use whatever I have. So
well, it looks healthy.
Thank you.
keep it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it going.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Did you ever try smoking weed?
No. Okay, so that's actually a good question, because people tend to kind of like, I guess, relate to the music scene, the tattoo scene, to pretty much like a party lifestyle, right? I have nothing against what people want to try in life, right? So I've been around it all my life as an 18-year-old plus, right? Never before. But did I ever try it? No. Like I never got into it. I never got curious. Same goes for like cigarettes or like alcohol. It was just never for me. Like I said, I don't have anything against it. Being around it so much, I never got curious about it. Like, sure, I'll have like some curiosities. What does it feel like? But as far as like wanting to find out for myself, nah.
So you don't drink?
Nah, nothing. Sometimes people do trip out with that, like I said, because of the lifestyle that I live in terms of like being in bands or being a tattoo artist. But that's all just kind of like a stigma that can kind of be, I guess, related to all that stuff that I do. But a lot of the stuff that growing up as a kid, like I guess like the anti-drug, like alcohol, that kind of like
dare kid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and as funny as it is, like it really did help. A lot of the school visitors and stuff, like I guess that's what kind of like steered me that way.
Say no to drugs. Kids.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the anti-drug cartoons, because like I said, I was a big cartoon kid. So if I saw Michelangelo from Ninja Turtles telling me not to do drugs, I was like, "You got it, bro." You know what I mean? So that's pretty much like how. Yeah, that's how I basically didn't try any of that stuff.
You don't have a tattoo, the dog, the dare dog?
No, but that McGruff, yeah.
There we go.
That was a cool mascot character, and but no, I owe it to him too. Yeah.
So what's your take on AI?
Oh man, so AI to me is a little scary. It's very interesting and to some levels cool. It's fascinating at times, like how fast this AI is just pumping out stuff. As far as art, man, it's doing a lot of damage, because at the flick of a couple buttons, like it's created something that someone could have possibly done by hand. And obviously, if you do stuff by hand, it takes time to do that, and that obviously takes money and to compensate for their work. And now that you have something where, like, you know what, like I'm just gonna AI this album cover, and boom, like it's there. You didn't have to do much, and it's a scary thing. So far, I feel very lucky as far as my career, even though it involves art. AI itself hasn't affected tattooing, because obviously we still have to tattoo it on somebody. It may affect the design work. Sure, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people using that to create designs, but as far as actual craft, you have to get it done by hand. But there are companies, I guess you could say, that are trying to dabble in mechanically done tattoos. I've already seen it on social media. And that shit's just like insane, man. Like we're coming to a point where almost everybody's gonna be replaced by mechanical.
Did you ever watch the movie Super Troopers?
You talking about Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers with the tattoo machine.
Yep.
I remember that part.
Yeah, Rico, the main guy, is getting a tattoo done. And it's almost done by like a laser type of mechanism. And a lot of people, when I was starting off, like they'd always bring that up, like, "Oh, dude, what are you gonna do? Like when like the Starship Troopers thing's gonna happen?" I'll be like, "Man, that shit ain't gonna happen." And now I'm seeing stuff that's kind of happening, and it's just like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know how serious it's gonna get with that. Hopefully, I'm gonna be gone by the time it's like become like a normal thing. And it's scary, you know. Like I said, it can be kind of interesting and fascinating at times, but it's also scary with like what technology is being able to do now.
Yeah, one of my friends was telling me that they put 2 AIs to communicate with each other, and they were, I guess they noticed that they were being monitored, so they created their own language and they started communicating.
Oh my god! Okay.
No, for real.
Yeah, bro.
So basically,
bro,
it's turning into Terminator.
Whoa.
That's scary shit, bro.
Yeah, and
I have never heard of that, bro.
a lot of the stuff, like you said, we don't know what's going on, and it doesn't sound surprising now that with everything that's happening, and I don't know, it's even with movies and music. There's AI generated music.
AI Drake.
Fuck.
Squidward, he sings a song.
Man, it's crazy what's going on.
He sings a song that my son likes.
Yeah, and you know, the AI is being used to like replicate movement and facial features with using somebody else's face. Like, what in the world is happening? It's crazy, you know?
Yeah, it's scary.
I don't like to sound like a boomer per se, right? But fuck, like that's.
No, I'm scared too. Dude.
I really hope whoever does whatever they do with AI doesn't do it for bad, but I mean that shit happens all the time, so we'll see.
Yeah. Aren't they using AI for like Chat GPT? Like people are finishing like what takes a long time to do an essay, they can just get it done real quick with Chat GPT.
There's
doing so much stuff
I don't know
with
if that's
AI right
AI
now.
related, but
Exactly what you just said, where it takes too long. That's with like everything, you know what I mean? Like oh, I'm not gonna write a song, boom, there you go, I have AI did it for me. Or
snap!
it's just people are it's only gonna be progressing even more, like I said, which is wild to me. So there comes a point where you think to yourself, like, what the fuck is gonna happen in like a year from now, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Even like, it's similar to AI, but like retail stores with the whole self checkouts, like how they're getting rid of a lot of cashiers and now they're using like trying to get everybody used to the whole self checkout.
Slowly but surely they're getting rid of them, right?
They're getting rid of the everyday job for people, you know, and that's not good, because companies are going to be taking over, not so much just like your local shops or whatever, local anythings, right? It's wild.
What was your first game console?
So my first game console was an Atari. I forgot which version it was, but we had an Atari. The very first games I guess I can remember being played was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and that's the one I remember the most. And it wasn't shortly after that my dad actually sold the Atari to get the Nintendo, the regular NES Nintendo. That was the one that I spent most of my childhood playing, was a Nintendo. Even though Atari was our first game home console, the Nintendo was the one that we really like used a lot growing up.
Did you ever play that McDonald's game?
Oh, the
Nintendo?
McKids, I think it was. I know there was McDonald's games. I never played them, but I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. Yeah.
It was awesome.
They had a lot of cool stuff, back in the day for Nintendo, where just about everyone wanted to dip their hands in making a video game. So, very not surprised that McDonald's wanted in on that.
Yeah.
What got you to start competing in the Combo Breaker event?
Okay, so Combo Breaker is one of many events that I like to go to. And it was in 2000, I'd say 9 or 10, that is when I got into the professional gaming scene. And what happened was, I've always been into video games, obviously, right? But these friends of mine were going to go hang out at another friend of theirs' apartment, and they were going to be playing Street Fighter 4. And automatically, I was like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to beat y'all's asses. Now, keep in mind, though, I wasn't a competitor at that point. This was just solely based off of my experience of just loving games. So I go to this apartment, and this guy, his name's Leo, he's basically playing us. Like, we're all talking and taking turns trying to beat this guy. And as everyone's just passing the controller except Leo, like, he stayed on there the longest, I'm tripping out. I'm like, dude, how the hell is this guy just, like, whooping our ass? And, like I said, they're having conversations about, I don't know, work or school. And so finally, I just asked Leo, I was like, hey, man, like, I didn't know him too well at that moment. I was like, hey, how are you just, like, whooping on us? Like, what? I don't know what's going on. And he's like, oh, and then this is where nerd talk comes in. He's like, so what I'm doing is I'm using what's known as frame data to beat you guys. Like, every time that you throw something that I know is unsafe, I'm blocking it and then punishing it for you. So really, I'm just letting you guys fuck up when you play me. And so I was like, I didn't know. At that moment, he told me that. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't realize that. And so I started hanging around him a little bit more, and he started showing me like the do's and don'ts fundamentally in how you compete. And I would go to these little local tournaments, get my feet wet. I started seeing that I would progress more and more.
Wow.
And then he would tell me like, oh, there's others like us, you know, like real, like really. And so he introduced me to the scene. Like
I gave you the secret sauce.
Yes, I got to get led into this like secret like underground club of dudes that knew what they were doing. And that was so great because even though I was losing to these guys, they were seasoned veterans. And I'm like, dude, I love this. Like, keep kicking my ass. I want to understand why I'm losing. And it would just snowball from there. And eventually I got better and better. And we would all travel to these different tournaments. One being Combo Breaker, which is my favorite, that takes place every year in Chicago. And what really got me into it, like I said, is just the sheer amount of, like, I guess, hours that you put into getting good. And then when you meet other people, checkers becomes chess when it comes to like just playing casually versus professionally. And you get to meet all kinds of people from like all over the world that go to these particular majors and that are just as good as you or better than you, or try. It's insane. And so, like I said, I've been doing it for the last like 14 years or so.
That's
so
awesome,
that
bro.
Yeah.
You were able to host it, right?
Yeah, so I do a lot of commentary actually. So
it's not hosting.
no, yeah, not hosting it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
more so commentary, doing play-by-plays while the competitors are playing on stage. Because at these tournaments, they have so many people that enter these things that they have what are known as like the small stations, which are basically, let's say like there's a table with 4 different consoles.
Okay.
People are just kind of running through that, trying to get matches out of the way. When you have the main stages, like on the main stage, where they're selecting some people from those small tables to compete on the big screen. Because like I said, there's so many people that play, like you can't have everyone on the main stage.
Oh yeah.
So of course the more well-known you are, you get priority in main stage. And then sometimes like an up-and-comer will be doing really well, so they put them on main stage. And it's up to the commentators, which I have been a part of at different times, where we do play-by-plays while it's happening. For the people at home watching it on stream, or the people that are watching like just sitting on the seats and stuff. So yeah, it becomes kind of like an ESPN type of event where we're just like, oh, and you see that guy made the wrong move, so this guy capitalized on it, you know, just going back and forth. So
Have you ever thought of going to like an E3 show?
I've never been to those, but I would love to, you know, just to kind of have the first time experience.
What's
like
E3?
It's essentially kind of like what's coming up, you know, like they showcase a lot that what's in store for the next
Game consoles?
Yeah, like yeah. So it's kind of like a preview show, and they have all kinds of companies trying to showcase like and surprise, like, oh, like guess what? There's a Mortal Kombat 17 coming out. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Okay.
Or the new Nintendo.
Right? Yeah.
The PlayStation.
the Nintendo Super Switch. You know, stuff like that. So
So it's very different.
Bro, it's fun, dude, because like it's not only gamers but cosplayers go also, so everybody's like dressed up.
yeah, it's an event. It's an event that does that caters to a lot of entertainment.
So what's your favorite game console?
My favorite one growing up was Super Nintendo. That one just had a lot of my favorite games that I love to this day still. And that one also kind of like reminds me of the nostalgic times I had with my neighborhood friends, because when the Super Nintendo came out, that's when my parents had moved us to a different neighborhood. Our first neighborhood, I had no friends there. So when we moved to the new one around that time, Super Nintendo was hot, and I had like all these like little friends of mine coming over playing, and
Bro, Super NES to me was like,
it was the bomb.
bro, yeah, like I mean, when the 64 came out, that was like whole other level
Yeah.
shit. But SNES, it's got 2 of my favorite games, which is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite Zelda.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's the Switch one, not the new one, but the one before.
Okay.
And then my other one was Earthbound.
Oh, Earthbound.
Did you ever play it?
Yeah, so Earthbound's one of those games that if you try and buy that now, it's like it's gonna cost you a pretty penny, man. Like that on the reseller market for vintage games, Earthbound is definitely up there.
It's like $700.
It's insane.
I'm gonna tell you a story. So here we had before we had the Walmart Supercenter, there was like a smaller Walmart, and I had like $8 on me, and I went into Walmart Electronics, and I'm just like, fuck, man, I want to get a game. So I'm looking, bro, and then like in the corner on the glass case, there's a big ass box, and it's Earthbound with the strategy guide.
Yep.
and it was only $4.
What the hell?
Yeah, bro.
Did you buy it?
Yeah, I bought it, and that's when, and then I played it, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this game's amazing, bro, and it's like for the price, you know what I mean? It was badass.
Do you still have your copy?
I think I do. I need to find it.
Yeah, hold on to that, man. Yeah. Please do, because that's amazing. Because for $4, that's insane.
Yeah, bro, with the guide.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. But I do remember Earthbound. One of my favorite games on Super Nintendo, Super Punch Out. Like, I got that for a birthday one year, and I played that thing to death, man. So I was very, very happy for that. So,
what's the backstory with you and your band going viral for having kids circle pit outside of a GameStop last year?
All right, so it's the beauty of this question is it pertains to metal and video games, what we had just finished talking about, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was, obviously, since I play a lot of video games, I buy a lot of video games, and I would go to the La Plaza Mall at their GameStop over there, that location, and there's a manager there named James, and he would always see me, and we'd have small little conversations here and there. He knew that I was in a band. As far as like what we sounded like, he didn't know what we sounded like.
Okay.
He was like, so he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey man, you're in a band, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Would you guys like to play or can you guys play a midnight release for the new Zelda game coming out?"
Nice.
And I'm like, "Well, do you know what we sound like?" He's like, "You guys sound like rock, right?" I'm like, "Not exactly. Like we play death metal." He's like, "Is that like Metallica?" I'm like, "Nah, it's like a little bit more up there in terms of aggressiveness." And I told him, I was like, "We're not necessarily like a scary band. Like, we just sound heavier, and I don't cuss in my songs."
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I in any of my songs, like, I don't say any sort of like bad words and stuff like that. I'll say them as we play, like, "You guys want to see a fucking badass song," but I not necessarily in the lyrics themselves.
Oh, that's cool.
But what happened was, I was like, I told him, I was like, man, maybe you might want to look for someone else, because I don't know how well a death metal band's gonna do at like an event like this. So I said I'd help him out by finding other bands.
Okay.
And so I did that. But it was like, man, how cool would that be to play at GameStop? Like, that's such a fun sounding day.
Y'all went viral.
Yeah, so
I know, I saw that shit, bro. I thought it was so cool,
and
man.
that's the thing. I didn't do it specifically in hopes that we would go viral. But what happened was, I asked him, I was like, "Hey, you know what? Is it cool if one of my bands plays, man? Because it still sounds really fun." I was like, "We'll play first. That way we'll get it out of the way, and you can have like the other bands kind of close. We don't mind playing first, because like almost every band doesn't want to play first at any event." And we're like, "No, we'll play first. Don't worry about it." So yeah, man, I think it'll be cool. So we played first, and I remember this was with Severance. I remember I was looking at my guitarist Bert. I'm like, "Dude, what are we doing? This is hilarious. Like, fuck it, we're gonna see how it goes." So we start playing, and there's people in line, there's kids, there's parents, and I'm just like, like doing all this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, I hope you guys like that song," like afterwards. But anyway, we noticed that people were like headbanging a bit, and we noticed people were into it, recording, and all of a sudden, the very last song we had, I saw a kid just running in a circle, like just by himself.
How cute.
And so I said, "Okay, you see what he's doing? I want to see the rest of you guys." And all of a sudden, just like clockwork, like all these little kids started doing it. And someone, I forgot who it was that recorded, but they got it just perfectly, and it looked cute, it looked fun. We started playing, they just kept doing it the whole song. By the next day, or that same night, I think someone like put it on TikTok. The next day, it was just like, poof, like it blew up, and I was like, "No fucking way is this happening." And what was so special about it was with Severance, like I said, and those guys have been around since '89. Those guys had never seen that happen before. They're like,
really?
"Dude, what in the world?"
Wow.
And it gave them a little bit of coverage. There was a lot of like different websites that were covering it. Like even Yahoo News did it. Like it was like, wow, that's.
I think it came out on Daily Mail.
It came out everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, this other band. I don't know what it's called, but I follow them on IG.
Yeah, there was people.
They have a large following.
Reposting it, and what's crazy is about like not that I always want something to go viral, but of course when it happens, it's a very neat thing to see. But it's crazy, like the types of people that it brings out. Like, yeah, the majority of the time people were like super like, "Oh my god, this is cute," but fuck where there's some people that were like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Haters.
And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? I was like, how is that dumb? That's
so
fucking
Bro, that's fucking awesome.
you know,
bro.
and I always keep it classy. Like, I'm not gonna be like, you know what, fuck you, you hurt my. It's more like, dude, it's like, what do you want me to say, man? Like, it's just a bunch of kids. Like, they're having fun. Like, they're not doing anything. And
then they like the little boy did on his own.
yeah, and
he was vibing.
Yeah, and I think one of them said like these kids should be out playing, running around playing. Like, I'm like, dude, are you blind? They're running around at this thing.
They're
So
getting their
yeah,
exercise.
it was just really funny. Like, it was almost one of those things where
They're
almost
touching grass.
yeah, dude. Like, and it was cool. It was a good little experience, and I'm glad that people, not just us, but I'm glad those kids got to be a part of something that they can say, hey, we were on a viral video. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, later they'll understand.
it's just gonna grow. Like, they'll be able to tell their kids about it and all that. So
That's pretty cool, man.
yeah, it's awesome.
Have you ever had a mod game system or mess with game emulators?
Oh yeah, dude. Like, when I was in high school, I had friends that were modding Xboxes, and I'm just like, dude, what's that? They're like, you want to play like games that you used to play like on Nintendo and Super Nintendo on your Xbox? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So those were emulators, and
They would do the soldering.
yeah, dude, that was the first time we had to go find
That shit was
an
hardcore.
electronic person
Yeah.
to solder.
Oh,
And
wow.
when that person got wind of what we were doing, he was like, so people are paying a lot for this type of stuff? And we're like, I guess they would. So that guy turned his business into, hey, I mod stuff, bring your shit and I'll charge you this amount. So
I had a guy in Edinburgh that would do that.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's so funny. Like, going back to, like, you know, talking about weed and stuff, like how people have connections for weeds. I had connections for video games. It was so funny.
It was
I
badass.
used to have this one dude during the Xbox 360 era. I'm gonna leave unnamed.
Yeah.
We would meet up at a corner store down the street from my house, and it would literally be like, I would hand him like, I think $20, and he'd hand me like 2 games. And I always thought how funny it would be if like a cop saw that and they pulled this over or something. Like, what's going on here? Like, it's just video games, man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, get out of here, nerds. You know, so back then it was super like funny to see, like, you know, just like the amount of, like, I guess sheer emulating and all this stuff to get like these nostalgic games into our systems was so great. And you know, it's still great to this day. But when it first happened, just like anything, like that was the AI at the time. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, you can do that, you know.
It started with on the computer with the
Yeah.
emulators.
Yeah, I remember just like that. Like, somebody burnt me a disc for my computer that had all the Nintendo games on there. I'm like, are you kidding me? Every single one.
You feel like a rich kid again, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Because like at a young age, you know, like me struggling buying
Yeah.
an Earthbound game, and here's fucking 3,000 games.
Yep.
Like, holy shit, bro.
You want Earthbound? I could put that shit on your phone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
But do you play them all?
It's
It's
man,
it's one of those things when you have everything, you're just like, eh. Yeah. If you would have given that to me as a kid, my mind would have been blown. So yeah.
It's just like something cool to say. I have
Yeah.
3,000 games.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to play?
Which
Yep.
one?
Yeah.
Hit me. Hit me.
Yep.
Did you ever mess with the Raspberry Pi?
Me personally, no, but I've been around. Like I said, the fighting game scene, man. I've seen like Raspberry Pis used all the time at these events, and
What's
yeah.
Raspberry Pi? It
It's a
sounds
mini
good.
computer,
Mhm.
and you just customize it to. It could be anything. You could install Android on it. You can install.
Like a Fire Stick?
It's like a Fire Stick. You can install like a software that lets you play all the old school games on there.
Oh, okay.
They even use it in the medical field. Like it's just a mini computer pretty
Yeah.
much that you can do a lot with.
You are in there.
Man, and
Yeah, yeah.
speaking of, I don't know if you've seen this, but they've managed to put Doom, the first PC Doom, on like just about anything. Like I think they put it like on a McDonald's kiosk one time,
What
and it's gotten to the point where somebody put it on a pregnancy test. You can Google that, like
What?
just look up Doom game pregnancy test, and you'll see like a pregnancy test. I don't know how it's. I've never used a pregnancy test, right? But apparently it's pretty high tech because they were able to run a Doom emulator
Like
on
the
there.
clear blue one, the digital.
You tell me. I don't know what
I
they.
think that's the only digital
Man,
pregnancy.
whatever it was, like I said, you can Google that. Whether it's like
Wow.
fake or not, it looks pretty fucking real. And the fact that they're able to put that game on like almost anything with a screen is insane.
That's
so.
crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, so I want to mention some random games that I've played,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you have, but one of them's gonna be Command and Conquer.
That was
RTS games.
the PC. Was that it's a PC game too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember that. Yeah, it was like a strategy-based game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another one, Fallout.
Oh yeah, Fallout. Yeah, of course.
Are you big on Fallout or not?
I'm big on it enough to know some references toward. Was I a hardcore fan? Nah, but like I am very familiar with Fallout.
What about the Resident Evil games?
Oh yeah, for sure. Resident Evil 2. I didn't have a PlayStation growing up. I had a Nintendo 64, and the fact that they put Resident Evil 2 on that thing, I was like, damn, I finally get to play this shit at home. So
Nice.
yeah, Resident Evil 2 is my favorite Resident Evil.
Is that the one with Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy?
Leon, yeah. So, and what's funny is just the other night I was at my guitarist's house and he had a VR headset and we were playing Resident Evil, I think 4 on it or something. And I don't know if you guys have used a VR headset, but it's so like you're immersed in this fucking game. And as I'm walking through like woods, all of a sudden these things pop up. I'm like, holy shit!
It's scarier.
Yeah.
So they have it for VR?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's
They
scary.
have the new one too for
Dude, I
that.
have not tried Resident
Yeah.
Evil on VR.
It's fucking wild.
And
tried
bro,
that shit.
the last game, have you heard of Mugen?
Are you talking about like just like the Mugen where you put like all these fighting game characters? Yeah, like all these characters in the fighting. Of course, yeah.
Bro, that game. Have you heard of that one?
No.
So it's like playing Street Fighter on the PC, but you add everything you can think of on
Yeah.
there. Like the Simpsons,
Family Guy,
Power Rangers,
Oh,
Family Guy,
what the
like
fuck?
So you have like Ryu and
Dragon Ball,
You'll have like
like-
Mortal Kombat characters with Street Fighter characters and just all these different types of characters. And this is all homebrew, is what it's known as, where people have like
What's this
modded.
called?
So it's
Mugen.
known as Mugen.
Mugen.
Yeah, and if you YouTube it, you see Mugen fighting games. Like it's just all kinds of wild.
Custom.
Yeah, it's cool.
You were on a game show
Mm-hmm.
on TV and you won. How was that experience for you?
Oh man, so yeah, I was on a game show for ABC called Supermarket Sweep, and that show itself has been around for like the longest time back in the day, and I grew up watching it at my grandma's in the 90s. And ever since I was a kid, like I watched a lot of Nickelodeon game shows, and seeing these kids on these shows, I was like, man, I want to be on that game show so bad. But of course, my parents were like, I'm not gonna fly you to Florida or whatever it is that they shoot just to get you on this. You know, it seemed impossible.
Right.
And as I grew up, I still watched game shows, and for whatever reason, I never thought about getting on one until they rebooted the Supermarket Sweep show. And it was during the time that the COVID had happened, so it was on lockdown, and I was watching it on Hulu. And I'm like, dude, I used to love this show, man. Like, that's cool that they brought it back. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and get on this fucking show, man. Like, I've always wanted to be on a show. At the time, I think I was like 37 or 38. It's a couple years ago. I was like, I'm old enough to do this by myself. I don't have to ask mom and dad, hey, can I go on the game show? You know. So it just all snapped and clicked to me. I was like, I need to try and get on this show. And this was during season 1 had already aired. So what I didn't know then, I know now. Once a season is aired, you can't apply for that season, obviously, because they're done taping. So I had tried applying while season 1 was playing, and I didn't get anything back. And I was like, well, yeah, no shit, dumbass. Like they already filmed that. So I basically had them on social media, and one day I just happened to be right place at the right time on social media. Where when I logged on to Instagram, one of the Supermarket Sweep, the page, excuse me, it posted now casting for season 2, and it just had like 2 minutes on there. I was like, holy
Nice.
shit! I was like, that's my calling right there. So I was at work when it happened, and I told her, hey, I'm taking off for the day. I'm gonna go focus on getting this. Every one of my friends were like laughing, like, oh my god, you're gonna try? I was like, yes. Like I was so determined. And I went over all the questions. I answered them. And this is a team-based show, so you need a teammate or a partner to be on the show. I had asked a couple friends of mine, and they were I actually asked a couple of my friends that were moms, because I felt like, well, if I have a mom on my team, they might have an advantage because they know about products that I may not know. And the reason I say that is because this show is based off of like supermarket products and you know, just food-based or like merchandise-based that you find like at your regular supermarkets. And anyway, they were kind of like no, like I guess they didn't take it too serious, so they're like embarrassed. I'm like, dude, I really want to get on this fucking show. So then I thought, like, as like I guess kind of like a businessman, I guess you could say. I was like, you know what? I need to give them a reason to put me on this show. Like, I need to think like Hollywood in a sense. Like, why would they want just some dude? I need to give them a reason why they need me.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I need to tell them that we'd be the first metal band on their show.
Oh, nice.
So from there, I told my guitarist Fred, I was like, hey Fred, would you want to be on a game show with me? And he was like, sure. You know, he even know what the hell I was talking about. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be Supermarket Sweep. He was like, okay. So I sent him the application. I was like, look, check it out. Fill out this application. They were asking for a video application as well. And the key words that said was, you don't have to, but it'll help your chances. So I'm like, of course I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So I told Fred, hey, before you send your video, just send it to me so I could check it out. So what I went was, when I filmed my little video, dude, I did like 30 takes. It was all
really?
it was all one shot. Like I didn't have any software or anything like that to like chop it up. So I'd be like 90% done, and I'd be like, I'm like, fuck. So I'd have to start again. So yeah. So what I did was on the video application, I basically said like, hey, like, you know, I love this show. I grew up with it. I also compete in video games, so you're not going to get me nervous on there. I'm there to compete. I know what it takes. And I sent them clips of me competing. I was like, plus, you guys have never had a metal band on your show. Yeah. I'm a metal vocalist. I love being in front of a crowd. I love the spotlight. Like, I don't get nervous. I was meant to be on your all show as the first metalhead on there. You know, just hyping it up. And I was telling them that, you know, I didn't want them to be too like, oh no, he's too extreme, this guy's gonna come and like stage dive off of something, right? No, I told him, I was like, it's just something I love doing. On top of that, I'm also a tattoo artist. I've been doing that all my life. On top of that as well, I also do like community work with schools. Like I'll go do like little visits as far as career days, or I'll show kids like how I draw. I was like, so I am a loving guy, even though I sound like a monster. That was my pitch. And I told them about my guitarist. I was like, same thing with Fred. He's a great guitarist, great dad, great husband, great teacher. That he works at a school, middle school.
Oh, nice.
So I had it set. Boom. I sent that. I asked to see Fred's, and Fred showed me, and he was like, well, my name's Fred. I do this. I was like, Fred, throw that one away. I need you to redo it. You know, not to throw any offense on him, but I was like, try this, like open with like a guitar solo and then be like, what's up guys, I'm Fred. Yeah. So that's what he did. He changed. I was like, boom, there it is, perfect. Like that's exactly what we have to do. And so we submitted it, and we pretty much just waited, and not even like 4 or 5 days. I still have the text message. I never deleted it from my phone. That's but awesome. I got a text message from somebody that was a part of the show, and they're like, hey, this is, you know, so-and-so from Supermarket Sweep. We got your application. We'd love to talk to you. I'm like, holy shit. And at that moment, I was like, we got it, you know? Yes. So I called them, and they did a quick little background check on me. Luckily, like, you know, I'm super clean. Like, I didn't have any sort of, like, anything, I guess, like, records that they would be afraid of or whatever. And they scheduled a meeting with one of the producers the following day. From there, I joined me and Fred joined the meeting via Zoom. And they basically were asking us all these questions, and they loved us. Like everything that we were telling them, they're like, oh my God, you guys are so good, and blah, blah. They asked us what our team name was, because each team has to have
team name was unique.
Yeah, we have to have a food-based or supermarket-based team name.
Oh, okay, no wonder.
Yeah, so ours was Team Guac and Roll. And for obvious reasons, we wanted something to represent like how music-related, and I mean, I love guac, you know, guac and chips, like guacamole, you know, guacamole. So yeah, it kind of fit us perfectly. We had to wait like about a month and a half before we got the official word. And within that month and a half, they would tell us like, you're not necessarily picked, but you have a good chance. But
oh, that sucks. Right.
But we understood that like, yeah, they have to go through a process, and they had to monitor our Facebooks, social media. They had to do all that. So, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, a lot of the insight on that is they do background checks for that long time, and once you're cleared, then they're like, hey, guess what? I remember I was in Laredo when they called me. They're like, we're gonna fly you out there to California. We're gonna have you compete.
Oh wow, I was in Cali.
Yeah, so we got flown out there. It was all paid by them. Very very nice people that we worked with. I was afraid that we were gonna get there and it was gonna be super like Hollywood, like, okay, you guys suck and you're gonna do what we tell you. No, it was super like oh, like we love that you're here. We want you to have the best time ever.
Way.
And I was like, dude, this is amazing. Like,
that's awesome.
We felt so like pampered. Like they did our hair and makeup, which I was all about. Like I was like, dude, this is sick.
So cool.
They did wardrobe for us in terms of like our Supermarket Sweep sweaters, like, and just the fact that when we got into the actual studio itself, it was like I felt like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. When they Willy Wonka opens the shit, I was like, oh my God,
it was real colorful.
This is awesome. I remember they were playing like some Taylor Swift song. I don't know who it was. Like, could have been Hilary Duff. I don't know, but it was just super magical. And what was so funny was I studied the shit out of season 1. The same way I study my opponents in fighting games, I was like, I need to know everything about this show. So I literally, during season 1, before we were on the show, I drew out like a blueprint of the floor, so I knew where everything was.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so when we were led into the studio, I looked at it. I was like, dude, they did not change the floor at all. So I know where everything is. And for those of you that are curious to see it, I won't give away too much. If you look into season 2, episode 12, that's our episode.
Okay.
You can see how it all panned out, and
nice, that's a good strategy, bro.
we had an advantage because, like I said, I went in there like knowing. So yeah.
The Leslie Jones was a host.
Yes,
right?
Leslie Jones. She was a very cool lady. We didn't get to mingle with her before or after the show, but during taping, she was super awesome.
She was cool.
So she was really cool. What's really great too, at least I can give props and credit to not just our team but the other teams. We did not once mess up, like as far as like filming.
I saw the show with.
Yeah.
Remember we saw it at home. I think I even like posted it on
my
IG story. I was all like, dude, this guy's like on it. And I don't know, like you're representing the valley.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
People ask like, oh, it's fake, right? Like y'all are like, I was like, no, dude, like we're regular ass people.
Yeah.
And what was scary was that. Scary but still an accomplishment, we did not fuck up. Like I wasn't like, hey, can we reshoot? Like nobody. It was crazy. It was cool.
You look natural.
Yeah,
you guys, like, I don't know, like I've never heard of that.
Like what do you mean you didn't fuck up? Like there was no retakes,
right, yeah. So they had told us beforehand, if you guys like flub whatever it is, like don't worry, there's TV editing and blah blah blah. Okay. They'll be able to redo shoots. But to my surprise, like I didn't choke on my words, the other teams didn't choke. And to me, that's kind of like, even though it's not that big of a deal to the everyday viewer, it's kind of amazing. I'm like, dude, we all did a good job. We didn't like accidentally like cuss, or we didn't accidentally like be like, oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
I would have messed up.
Yeah.
I curse a lot.
Yeah, I did too. I did too at the very end. You're not going to hear it.
It was like a natural flow.
Yeah. We did have like an opening intro to our introduction as far as who we were, but because we had about like 2 hours to kill in our trailer that they provided. So me and Fred, we practiced our intro like over and over. Like, we're gonna say this, we're gonna say that, we're gonna say this, and boom, we nailed it. I was like, dude, hell yeah! So
that's awesome.
Practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to touch in on that. We did win. I won't tell exactly that, but yeah, we did win, and they 100% do compensate you with your winnings and stuff. So you're just like, that was fucking awesome. It was like a dream come true, and on top of that, we won some money to take home. So.
Did you split it?
Yeah. So since it's team based, it's automatically split. It's not so much like, here, you guys do what you want. It's like, no, like they made sure that both members got like a certain amount down the middle.
Nice.
So.
I'm like, what'd you do with the money?
So I did put it aside. You know, like it was more so like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just put that in the savings. Fred, he went ahead. He took his family out like on a road trip for like I don't know how many days, but they went out there. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Bro, so what's your favorite art to create? Is it the music, tattooing, or the painting?
Man, I'd have to say music, because with art, that's more so like how I live. You know, that's my means of like funds. That's my means of like survival. So even though there's not like a lot of pressure doing that, with music, it's more so like kind of like I get to be laid back. Like, you know what? I'm doing this for the sake of just having a good time. Painting and all that, of course, it's the same sense, right? But I feel with music, it's more of a treat for me, like to create something musically in a way, kind of for free, I guess. You know, of course, as musicians, we don't want to be starving artists where we don't get paid. But at the same time, like if I didn't get paid, I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Like this is just something I love doing. As far as tattooing, it's like, no, you're gonna pay me. So like no, this is I got bills, buddy. Like I got to keep this shop open. With music, it's more like, hey, I'm out of work right now. I got like 2 hours to kill. Let's do it. You know. So
for sure.
So I got 3 outro questions. So if you have anything else, you can ask him, and then I'm gonna ask him the final 3.
What got you into doing magic tricks?
So magic is something I barely got into like about a year-ish ago. I've always loved magic, and here's the thing about me, like once I get into something, I really want to like invest my interest in it, and I've always loved magic ever since I was a kid. And I'm telling you this to the haters out there, stop ruining it for everybody. Stop being all, oh, it's not real. I'm like, yeah, no shit, it's not real per se, but it's awesome. Come on, give me a break. And some of that shit is insane. So anyway, but I've always been fascinated by it. I never knew how people would do certain things. And one of my friend Ceci, she has over there at Trenton Point, she has a coworker named Jameson. He did a magic trick in front of me. That I was like, dude, how did you do that? Please tell me. Like, I'm being serious. Just tell me. I need to know. And he showed me. And I'm like, that's it. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to kind of like do more of this. And, you know, whether I it's all research, you know.
But I thought a magician never reveals his tricks.
They don't. But one of these days, you just got to at least like have someone show you. Like,
he had a gun to the guy's
head. Give me the freaking answers to this, please. Nah. But yeah, like it was such a fundamental trick that's used in a lot of the tricks that I do and stuff. But once I got the know-how with that, I was like, okay, so I can do this. I would look into other stuff. I'd look into other magicians that had like how-tos, or like, you know, I bought like old school books, you know,
David Copperfield,
just all that stuff, you know, like
I like David Blaine.
David Blaine's really cool, man. Like he had a lot of at the time street magic is what it was known as.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does some pretty insane stuff. Some of that stuff he does is very dangerous, you know. Like
some of our stunts, right?
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff.
Is there a Chris Angel?
Oh yeah, I think Chris Angel's cool
Freak.
too. People,
What'd you say?
Mind Freak. Yeah, he had a show called Mind Freak.
That's really
Mind
cool.
Freak. Oh, okay.
I love a lot of magicians, man. Like, it's super cool. And now that I've been doing it myself, like, it's still very like you know, baby steps, but I've gotten it down for the most part. As far as public magic, I'm still not 100% down, because if you fuck up, you look like a loser, and I have done that.
So like at a kid's party,
I'd be down.
Yes,
I feel like that.
That's public, right?
Yeah, well, it's public, but it's also kids, you know.
Oh, okay.
But if you were to put me like in front of a stage, like at like a main event thing, I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean?
The only magician I don't like was my dad, because he disappeared from my life.
Oh, yeah,
Oh my God.
that's a hard trick to pull off.
Shit.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you know, magic's something that's very special to me, and whether I know how some people do certain things, I'm like, dude, it's still awesome. You know, that's an art form in itself. So.
Yes, and I'm already done with it.
Okay, bro. So, any advice to anyone that's starting in tattooing, painting, game tournaments, starting a band, or even the magic stuff?
Yeah, the hardest part is just doing it, like just getting your feet wet, because there's so many things. What I've learned in life, and this isn't to sound cheesy or anything like that, is like, you're not gonna just get this shit for free. You know, there's gonna be times where you feel like you suck, because there's always times that I feel like I suck at certain things. Now that I'm older, I realize I don't suck, but I always want to be better and all that. But of course, when you first start off, like whether it's with tattooing, you're gonna have your people that are gonna put you down, like, nah, don't do it, you suck, you know. And that's always a shame. Yeah, you know, it's a shame to hear, but it's always going to be there, so you might as well get over it right away. Same thing with music. Like, yeah, no shit, you're not going to be, like, super, like, famous or, like, really good. Some people are naturally born with, like, talent that's right off the bat, but, you know, you still have to, like, work for it and practice. So just with about anything, like, just do it, because if you don't try it out, you're not going to know if you can or not, you know, and you're not gonna be able to do everything, but at least if you try and like put the work into it, like you'll train yourself to get good at stuff. So a lot of people are shy, you know what I mean? That's the thing. They're shy with anything, like whether it's speaking in public. You got to get over that sooner or later if you want to be like, you know, in front of people, or like you're shy with what people are gonna say about how you draw. It's like you got to get over that, because some people may not like it, some people might like it, but it's all about getting over things, and then from there, once you conquer that, you realize, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna invest more time, and I'm gonna get good at this. And there's no shame. There's no shame in like saying that you're good at something, because it's like, yeah, I'm fucking good. I've been doing this shit for like 20 years. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say?
Give me my flowers.
Yeah, exactly.
Any shout outs?
You know what? Shout out to the whole valley that's always ever given me a time of day, like whether it's just to like say hi to me, like when they see me, or just anyone that's actually like helped me out in my life, whether being my customer or just a lover of my crafts and stuff like that. Thank you so much. And just you guys too for having me out here, because anytime I get to like hang out and talk about things in life, like I feel like that's very special to me, because some people may take that for granted, that you know, that they don't want to talk about like what they've done or whatever, and whether it's good or bad, it's still cool to like get some of that stuff out in the air and out in the open, just so people understand you as a person. And I appreciate people like you guys that want people to be heard. So
yes,
yeah, bro, it's the experience, you know, and then everything that you share. Like it's awesome, bro. Like not everybody's done what you've done, and it's always an adventure, like interviewing everybody.
Yeah. And for the record, I'm as average Joe as possible. Like that's one thing I tell people. I was like,
very humble.
Yeah, I've done a lot of like big little things, and by that I mean I'm not famous. I never made it like on, you know, like, oh, everyone and their mother knows me, but it's more so like, you know what, I want to try and get on a game show. I want to compete. I want to do this and that. It's because I wanted to do that, not so much that I was given it freely. It's like, no, like we're gonna get in there and we're gonna do it. So
hell yeah.
One thing we forgot to mention was your collection. So what?
Yeah.
I guess name two, like your top 2 collections that you've had, like action figure or whatever.
Okay, so I was really big into Ninja Turtles, like I said, and I actually have some hand-drawn concept art from one of the Playmate artists that was essentially like the concept artist of like, hey, I need you to design this so that we can make a toy out of it. I've managed to get like a couple of like handmade original sketches of some of the toys that I grew up with.
Oh wow!
And how I got those, obtained them, was just sheer luck. Being on eBay one day, and I bought like a prototype. What was it? It was from this line called Toxic Crusaders. I bought like a prototype figure, and from there the guy messaged me. He's like, "Hey, email me through this, like, because you can't give your email out on eBay because they'll flag you for it." He said it's my last name and this at, you know, he separated it. And so I emailed him. I was like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "I have more of this stuff. My dad used to be part of the concept team and this and that. If you want to buy." So I'm like, "Shit, let's do it, man." So I was buying stuff off of him. I'd say that's one, you know, as far as some of the stuff that I have, like some original concepts. As far as like what I have a video game for Nintendo that's kind of hard to find, and it's like kind of up there. It's called Little Samson. It's a really good game, and if you look that shit up on eBay, that thing sells for like, I don't know, like $1,000 or more.
Wow.
And I was able to get it for $14 back in the day, and I have that as a prize. But yeah, like we were talking about with Earthbound, there's a lot of vintage retro games that are up there in value, and I don't necessarily have it just to be like, I'm gonna cash it in. It's more so like, damn, I'm glad I bought it for $15 and not $1,000. So
yeah.
But, yeah.
Bro, so I was going through your work, and you got some really nice tattoo work.
Thank you.
And just talking to you right now, it comes to mind like, what's the next tattoo I want to get? And
Oh yeah.
something I had in mind right now, it just came to mind was
Earthbound.
No, if you could give me a tattoo of the Last Ronin.
Oh yeah, dude, hell yeah, man. Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I'm always down to do a Ninja Turtle, man. So especially with Last Ronin, that'd be pretty sick, because that'd be the first time I get to do that. So
Not Splinter.
Nah,
I've done a Splinter tattoo. I've done Splinter before. So
Doesn't he have a long beard?
yeah.
I'll dress like him, but
There you
nah.
go. Yeah.
I'll dress.
Bro, so where can people get a hold of you if they want to follow everything that you're doing?
The majority of the time you'll see me, I'm on Instagram, and I'm under I Hate Milk a lot. I really do hate that stuff. If you guys ever get curious, you can message me and ask me what it's about. I'll tell you the story gladly. It's nothing too crazy, but let's just put it this way. Like, I was like 4 years old, and that shit fucking grossed me out. And I'm 40 now, so like I've been anti-milk forever. I still like milk products though, like ice cream and stuff like that. So I'm somewhat of a hypocrite, but like I said, if it's in liquid form, get it away from me.
There's the dairy-free ice cream.
There you go. But yeah, most of the time you'll find me on Instagram under I Hate Milk a lot. You can find me on Facebook as well. You can find my shop. It's Lionheart Tattoos in Edinburgh.
Nice.
And as far as bands, Cryptic Mutation, Severance, King and Yellow. Those are the bands I'm in.
Awesome, bro. This was a very awesome podcast, bro. You're very informative. You're multi-talented. So
Thank you.
I'm very grateful that you came through today. Asia
Same.
too, Renee. If you ever want to co-host with us, of course, I would love to do the band, but if you have any other ideas,
if you guys
just know that we have this platform here for you as well. You know?
I've been very lucky to meet a lot of people in life. So if you guys ever want like interesting people or characters, like I can guarantee you that I can find some great people to talk to. So
Awesome, bro.
That'd
Oh
be
yeah.
cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. Tune in. This episode will be out in a few weeks, but it's gonna be on music platforms. There's also gonna be reels on everything: Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. So yeah. Once again, thank you guys, and music, peace and love, homies.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.